Did you know your standard tank water heater is really only expected to last around 10 years, give or take a couple of years? And the reason that they go bad is due to corrosion. Now, they do have what are called anode rods in them that are supposed to help with this. But those anode rods are self-sacrificing and need to be replaced on a somewhat regular basis. And the majority of homeowners have no idea that they even exist, let alone know that they need to be replacing them. Well, there is actually an anode rod out there that does not need to be replaced regularly. It does not self-sacrifice. It comes with a warranty of 20 years that during that time, it's going to be treating your water so that your tank is not corroding. It is not rusting. And it's also designed to remove any rotten egg smell or sulfur smell that you have in your hot water. So I'm going to show you all of that and show you just how easy this is to install. So let's go ahead and jump right in. This anode rod is made by Coro Protect. When I was doing my research, this was just by far the best anode rod that is available currently on the market as far as what it provides. So this is the anode rod that is capable of eliminating your sulfur smells. It also stops the corrosion that goes on in your tank water heaters. You get a 20-year warranty with this, so they're backing that it's going to continue to work for 20 years, and it's going to be doing the things that they advertise here. So there are some really big differences between this and your standard anode rods. Obviously, this is much smaller. This is just in a little box, where your standard anode rods are much longer. They typically are close to or around the same height as your water heater is. Another huge difference, though, are the materials that are used. So with your standard anode rods, they're typically going to be made of a magnesium or an aluminum. And both of them are going to be designed to self-sacrifice. And that's because as they sacrifice themselves, they're basically repairing and treating the inside of your tank water heater so that they don't continue to rust and corrode and therefore go bad. So that's why they typically need to be replaced, just depending again on your water quality. I would recommend with your standard anode rods that they be replaced around every 5 years. Well, this anode rod is not made of magnesium or aluminum. The metal that goes down into the water is actually titanium. So that alone can reduce that rotten egg smell. And the other big difference, and probably one of the biggest differences between the anode rods, is that this one is a powered anode rod. So let's go ahead, open it up. So you got your instruction manual. This is going to be the power supply. And then of course here is the anode rod. And the way that this works to prevent that corrosion and get rid of that rotten egg smell is because it employs a low voltage electrical current to create a chemical reaction that inhibits rust and corrosion in that water heater. So it's from the small amount of voltage that's introduced into the water heater that causes that chemical reaction and therefore does not allow the water heater to rust or corrode. And because we're getting rid of that corrosion, that is why we can expect for the water heater to last for many, many more years than they're typically expected to. So as I was researching what is the best anode rod replacement out there, and then looking into the science behind it, in my opinion, this is about as close as it gets to a no-brainer. And no, this is not a sponsored video. I'm not being paid by them. They did not send this to me for free. This is all just my honest opinion and sharing with you the facts as to how and why this does work so well. So these are going to be all the tools that you're going to want for this particular installation. Starting over here on the left, this is a breaker bar with a 1/2-inch drive on it, but I really recommend at least having a breaker bar which has an extended handle on it to give you some extra leverage, because the old anode rod that is in your system right now, most of the time that thing is not going to want to come out. And it can oftentimes take a lot of force to where you may have to strap your unit down so it's not twisting, which we'll get into all of that a little bit later. But you're definitely going to want something that gives you as much leverage as possible. You're also going to want a ratcheting socket wrench. For our 2 sockets that we're going to need, these are both deep sockets. For this first one, this is an impact ready socket, which I'll get into that in just a moment. But this size is 1 1/16 inch. We're going to need this one for your standard anode rod in order to remove it. They're almost all the same size, so the 1 1/16 inch socket should be able to remove any anode rod you have installed currently. Then, because the new anode rod actually has a larger head on it than your standard anode rods, we're going to need this different socket, which is a 1 3/16 inch socket. You're going to want a standard impact or a drill in order to use a driver set. There's really only one step where we need this, and that's when we go to install the ground wire. And I say you want to have a drive set because depending on the size screws that are on your water heater, it's hard to say exactly which one you'll need. I'll need a 1/4 inch, but yours might be different. And then you're also going to want some thread seal tape for the threads. Now, just briefly going back to the impact rated socket, Again, this is going to be the one for removing your current anode rod. It's going to be in there very tight. I have an impact ready because for me personally, when I go to remove it, I'm going to be using this impact gun right here, which has a 1/2 inch drive on it. It's made for these sockets. And some people might feel like this is overkill, but when we get to that step, I'll explain it in depth and I think it'll make a lot of sense. All right, so for the most part, that's all the tools that are going to be needed for this. And for your convenience, like always, I'll have links for all of the tools and the anode rod. Everything you see in the video, I'll have links for it down in the description down below. When you click on those links, it will take you directly to whatever you clicked on, so you can check them all out for yourself. All right, so here is the hot water heater that we're going to be replacing the anode rod on. This is a 50-gallon electric water heater. So the first thing that we need to do in order to get started with this is we need to locate the cold water supply and we need to turn it off. So this one is right here. So all I need to do is turn that clockwise a 1/4 turn. Generally with valves, as long as they're not in line with the piping, it usually means they're in the off position. Next, we're going to want to turn off the circuit breaker. Now this is an electric water heater, so obviously all I'm going to have to do is turn off the circuit breaker. But if you have a gas water heater, you're going to want to turn that off, or at least turn it to pilot so it's not actively heating the water. So I'll just go ahead and turn this off. All right, so now that we've got the water supply off, we've got the circuit breaker off. Now we want to drain a little bit of water out of this water heater in order to take the pressure off of it. And we can easily do that just by opening up a faucet for just a little bit. Or we can also hook up a hose to the drain valve, usually located at the bottom of a water heater. Just connecting a standard garden hose to it, then using a slotted screwdriver to open the valve slowly and just drain off around 1 or 2 gallons. And as you can see, what looks like slime there, all those pieces that look like stones are actually buildup that came out of the water heater. That is just an indication that this water heater needed to be flushed, and a very good reminder that if you have not done that in a while, then you definitely want to do that to extend the life of your water heater. All right, so now that we've got the pressure taken off, now we need to locate where the anode rod is. Obviously, as you see, we've got our pipes coming in, our pressure relief right there. And then if you come back here, it actually says anode on top of this little gasket or this cover here. You may not have a cover. You might just see the top of the anode rod where a socket would get attached to it. But in this case, to get to our anode rod, we just have to pry up that seal or that cover there. So as you can see, down inside of that hole, there is the top of the anode rod and where we need to get a socket on it in order to get it out. Well, I talked briefly a little while ago about how when we get to this step, how we want to leave water in the tank so that it's not as likely to then twist while we're trying to loosen that anode rod out of the water heater. So we do still have close to 50 gallons in this water heater, so we have a lot of weight here. Another thing that can be done is using a set of ratchet straps, attaching them or anchoring them down to the wall somehow or to something that's very, very heavy. That's going to help keep this from twisting when we're trying to pull this out, because we do not want this to twist at all, because we've got piping that is stationary going down into this water heater, and the more we pull on it and it starts twisting, the more likely it becomes that we can do damage to our piping. So with all that being said, in my opinion, and this is completely up to you or whoever's doing the job, I personally am not going to use a breaker bar or a socket wrench in order to be pulling against my water heater. Again, you can just take precautions to make sure that it's held in place. But what I prefer to use instead of those tools is an impact gun like this one right here. And the reason I prefer to use one of these over using a breaker bar or a socket wrench is because all of the force being exerted is going to be right above the anode rod. We're not going to be pulling it away from the wall and potentially causing this water heater to twist. Along with that, an impact, the way that it works is it's constantly going in and out of gear. So it's hitting whatever it's trying to loosen with burst constantly to break it loose. So again, this is what I'm going to use. I just think it's the most efficient. For me, in my opinion, it's the safest option, but the other two options are obviously very viable as well. So I'll go ahead, insert that socket down on top of that anode rod. That socket really can't go any lower. The gun is on the top. We could use an extension, but it's not necessary. It is on the anode rod now. So now all I need to do is make sure that my impact is in reverse or turning to the left to loosen, and then just pull the trigger and it should come loose. All right, so it is loose now. So I'm just going to loosen it the rest of the way. All right, so it should be loosened all the way now. So I'll just go ahead and pull it out. All right, so as you can see, really not too terribly bad. There's definitely some corrosion going on, and the rod is much thinner. We also do have quite a bit of buildup on the rod as well, so it is doing its job. So this did have a little bit of life left in it, but it really is at a place where it's a good idea for it to be replaced. Now we're ready to install this into the hot water heater, but before we do that, we want to make sure that our threads are completely sealed. So that's where you're going to want to take some pipe thread seal tape. Some people call this plumber's tape. Some refer to it as Teflon tape, even though Teflon is really just a brand. Whatever you call it, I like to call it plumber's tape. Now there's a right way and a wrong way to apply plumber's tape to threads on a pipe, or in this case an anode rod, because you don't want the end of the tape to be facing the wrong way, so that when you go and tighten it down, that it starts pulling that tape up, bunching up, and then it lowers the integrity of that seal. So a trick to doing that without having to think about it too much, we just want to take that tape and we just want to start it down at the bottom, and we want to wrap around this to the right. So I'm actually spinning my anode rod counterclockwise. Obviously, if you're doing this from the other direction, this would be reversed. But in this direction, I'm spinning it counterclockwise, but the tape is going around those threads in a clockwise direction. And we want to get around 2 to 3 wraps on these threads to make sure we have a nice seal, but we're not overdoing it. And then once I've done that, I just break the tape off like that. And as you can see, all of our threads are nicely covered with that tape. So now all I need to do is take the new Coral Protect Anode rod, insert it down into the top of the water heater. One thing to note between the old anode rod and this one is we have this very tall head right here. So the very top of the head is going to be sticking up a lot further than the old anode rod was. So if your anode rod was already pretty much at the surface, this is actually going to stick out of the top a little bit, and that's perfectly fine. So I'm just going to quickly hand tighten it down, and that's about as tight as I can get it with my hand. So in order to tighten this down, I'm actually going to use a socket wrench for this. There is really no reason whatsoever to use the impact again. We just want to get it to where it is very tight, but we never want to over tighten anything and possibly cause damage to whatever it is we're installing. So again, I'll just take my 1 3/16 inch socket, put it over the head of the new anode rod, and then just tighten it down. All right, so now it's starting to get quite tight. We do want to make sure that it is in there tight enough to where that thread tape can do its job. Make sure no water comes out of the top. And that's going to about do it right there. So as you can see, it's quite a bit closer to the top. It's not buried down in there as far as the old one was. But from this other angle, you can see that it is still slightly recessed. I would say it's recessed a little bit less than 1/4 of an inch below the top of the water heater. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on my water supply again, so this way I can verify that the thread seal tape is working, the anode rod is tightened down into it enough to where we don't have any water that's then coming up out of the top. So I'll go ahead, turn that back on. All right, so now with this power supply, obviously we've got the part that plugs into the wall, but then we've got 2 connections here on the other end. Both of these connections are going to need to be installed in order for this to work. And not just installed, but installed properly. So we've got this side here for our ground, and then we've got this female adapter here, and this will clip down on the very top of the anode rod. So I'm going to start off with installing my ground wire, and this can easily be done by removing one of the screws on the water heater itself. So I'm just going to use a 1/4 inch drive to remove this screw really quickly. Then I'll just take that screw, insert it in through the ring on the grounding wire, and then just reinsert that screw into the top of the water heater. So now the ground wire is installed. Now, if you look up here on top of the anode rod, you'll see this little strip of metal that's sticking up. That is where we will take the other connector for our power supply and connect it over the top of this piece of metal on top of the anode rod. So you just take that female connector, and then it just slides into place. Now, all there is to do is take our power supply and plug it into the nearest receptacle. Now, there is a green light that should come on down here in the bottom left, and once that green light comes on, it lets us know that everything is powered up and installed properly, and the new Coral Protect Anode rod is doing its job. So let's go ahead and plug it in, and as you can see, that green light is very bright and letting us know that everything is installed properly. Our new Coral Protect Anode rod is now protecting our water heater from any corrosion, and it's also getting rid of any sulfur smell that might have been there before. So overall, very easy install. Probably only takes around 15 to 30 minutes, just depending. Can use some pretty basic tools. And in my opinion, this is just a no-brainer, because if you do want to get rid of any sulfur smell you might have, This is going to take care of it. This is going to last a lot longer than any of the anode rods that you would typically buy in stores. And it's going to do as good a job, if not better, than those anode rods from stopping any corrosion from happening on your water heater, therefore extending the life of your water heater by many years. So definitely highly recommend that you check it out. Again, I'll have links for everything you saw in this video down in the description down below. When you click on those links, it will take you directly to whatever you clicked on, so you can check it all out for yourself. And so now, of course, we're done, so we can go ahead, turn our water heater back on. And we had already turned back on the water supply when we tested to make sure that the seal was good. So now everything should be good to go. Now, if you found value in this video, then you'll definitely find value in this video right over here, where I go over some things that not a whole lot of homeowners know about, but they really probably should. If that's of interest to you, all you have to do is click on it and it'll take you directly to it. So I hope you found value in this video, and if you did, if you do me a huge favor, hit that thumbs up button right down below. And of course, if you have any questions or comments still, you can leave those down in the comment section. And I'll catch you all in the next one. See ya.